Man, you ever have one of those days where it feels like the universe is just leaning over your shoulder, whispering, "Hey, buddy, buckle up, because I'm about to mess with your entire life"? That was me on a rainy Tuesday morning in downtown Chicago, sitting in my beat-up Ford Fusion in the company parking lot, rehearsing an apology speech for something I didn't even do. The sky was dark, the coffee in my cup tasted burnt, and for some reason my stomach felt like it was preparing for war. And guess what? I wasn't wrong, because that was the day my boss, Richard Harlow, a 6'2" corporate cobra in a $1,000 suit, decided to flip my whole life upside down. I remember taking a deep breath before walking inside the building, thinking maybe things would calm down today. Boy, was I delusional. The second I stepped into the office, I noticed people looking at me like I had a wanted poster taped to my forehead. The whispers, the quiet stares, the avoiding eye contact thing. Yeah, something was definitely off. By the time I reached my desk, my work email was locked, my access card was disabled, and my computer had a lovely bright red screen that simply said, "Unauthorized." I legit said out loud, "You gotta be kidding me, because things like that only happen in movies, right?" Turns out, sometimes your life becomes the movie. The HR director, a woman named Kelly with a permanent tight smile and a voice that sounded like she practiced sympathy in the mirror, came walking toward me with 2 security guards flanking her like a presidential escort. "Can we talk in the conference room?" she asked, pretending she didn't already decide my fate. People peeked over their cubicles like squirrels watching a car accident. I followed her into the room, and there he was, Richard, leaning back in a fancy leather chair like he owned not just the company, but the oxygen in the building too. He didn't waste time, didn't even pretend to check facts, didn't breathe, blink, or give me room to speak. "We're letting you go," he said, in that cold CEO tone that feels like someone just slammed a door in your face. Dishonesty, poor performance, misconduct. Misconduct? Man, I swear my jaw hit the floor, so hard it probably cracked a tile. I tried explaining that none of it made sense, that I had the highest performance ratings for 3 years straight, that I literally saved the company from a major client walking away twice, but he didn't care. The dude looked bored, like firing me was the highlight of his morning. "Pack up your things," he said. "Security will escort you out." And just like that, my whole world detonated. Walking out of that building with a cardboard box full of random office junk felt like a scene straight from a sad indie film nobody wants to watch. It was raining harder now, the kind of rain that stings your face and soaks through your clothes like it's personally offended by your existence. I sat in my car for a long minute, staring at the windshield as the raindrops raced down, thinking, what the hell just happened? I wasn't some slacker. I wasn't late. I didn't steal anything. I didn't screw up a client deal. I was the guy who stayed extra hours, the guy who fixed everyone's messes, the guy who believed loyalty meant something. That afternoon, I drove to my favorite diner, a place off a 90 with neon lights flickering like they were being powered by hopes and prayers. I ordered the usual, black coffee and a bacon cheeseburger, the kind of comfort food that hugs your soul but destroys your arteries. The waitress, an older woman named Marie who always called me sweetheart, asked why I looked like someone stole my future. When I told her what happened, she just shook her head and said, "Honey, some folks only climb the ladder by stepping on the people who built it." And man, that hit deep. For the next few weeks, things got rough. Bills stacked up. Job applications went unanswered. I sold my TV, then my gaming laptop, then nearly my sanity. I started doubting myself, thinking maybe Richard was right, maybe I did deserve it. But then, one night around 2 a.m., something crazy happened. I was doomed scrolling online job sites, feeling sorry for myself, when I stumbled upon a leaked article about my former company. Turns out, the stock price was tanking. Clients were leaving. Internal issues were boiling. And get this, it all started around the time he fired me. It wasn't just karma. It was poetic justice warming up. But I wasn't done, not even close. A couple days later, I got a message from an ex-coworker named Jenna. She said she had something important to tell me and asked if I could meet her at a Starbucks downtown. When I got there, she was already seated with this anxious, jittery energy like she had swallowed 5 espresso shots. "Richard fired you because you found out," she whispered. "Found out what?" I asked, completely lost. She leaned in, voice barely audible. He was shifting department budgets illegally. Man, ifruosa. She slid a folder across the table, and inside was documentation, real legit evidence of financial manipulation, shady fund transfers, fake invoices, everything. I looked at her and said, "No way, this can't be real." But it was. Richard knew I was about to uncover it because I handled quarterly audits, and instead of fixing his mess or facing consequences, he took the easy route. He threw me under the bus and hoped the tires kept rolling. That night, I sat in my car in the Starbucks parking lot, gripping the folder so tight the edges bent under my fingers. My heart was pounding, adrenaline pumping through my veins like I had just discovered a hidden treasure chest. Except this treasure wasn't gold. It was leverage. It was justice. It was the blueprint for revenge. And guess what? That was the moment I decided. I'm not just going to clear my name. I'm going to take everything he tried to take from me. Revenge isn't just anger. It's strategy. And if you want to win against a guy like Richard, you got to play chess, not checkers. I took Jenna's evidence, organized everything, verified dates, signatures, transfer logs, everything. Then I reached out to a lawyer friend of mine from college, Ethan, now a sharp attorney in downtown Chicago, who charges more per hour than my monthly rent. When he saw the documents, he literally said, "Man, this is a career-ending bomb. You sure you want to go nuclear?" I nodded. "I'm not just going nuclear," I said. "I'm going cinematic." We filed a whistleblower report, protected under federal law. The investigation launched quietly but intensely. Meanwhile, the company kept falling apart. Investors panicked. The board started asking questions. And Richard, oh man, Richard started sweating like a sinner in church. And the craziest part? I didn't have to say a single word publicly. The truth did the heavy lifting. Within 2 months, their valuation also dropped so low it looked like a Walmart clearance sticker. The board launched internal audits and suspended Richard. Then, they fired him. How's that taste, Richard? But here's the part that shocked even me. 2 weeks later, the company went up for acquisition. And the price was so low, I swear I checked 3 times to make sure it wasn't a typo. I didn't sleep for 2 nights. I kept pacing around my tiny apartment, wondering if I was really about to do this. Am I really about to buy the company that fired me? Am I seriously about to become the boss of the people who escorted me out? Turns out, yeah, I was. With Ethan's help, and with a small group of angel investors who believed in me. People who had also been screwed over by Richard. We pooled enough funds to make a move. We submitted an offer. A real, legal, official offer. And guess what? It got accepted. When the papers were signed, I just sat there staring at the contract like it was a golden ticket from Willy Wonka. My hands were shaking. My heartbeat felt like a drum solo. "Holy crap," I whispered. I actually did it. The next morning, I walked into the same building where I was fired. Same lobby, same security guard, same elevator. Except this time, I own the place. You should have seen the look on people's faces. Some were cheering. Some were confused. Some looked like they were witnessing a plot twist in real life. And then I saw him standing there by the elevator. Richard, unemployed, bitter, shocked. Our conversation, oh, it was sweet. He said, You bought the company." I smiled and said, "Yeah, man. Wild, right? Life's funny like that." He stuttered some excuse about misunderstandings, about how he didn't mean to fire me, about how we could work together again. I cut him off. "Nah," I said, "you fired me. Best decision you ever made for me." Then I walked past him, straight to the executive office that now had my name on the door. Owning the company wasn't just revenge. It was redemption. I rebuilt everything from the ground up, treated employees with respect, promoted talent that Richard used to bury, fixed client relationships, improved workflows. It wasn't easy, but it was worth it. The company grew again. Investors returned. New clients signed on. But the best part? Every morning, when I walked into my office with a fresh cup of Starbucks cold brew, I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Peace. Not because I crushed Richard. Not because I proved him wrong. But because I proved myself right. I wasn't worthless. I wasn't disposable. I wasn't a failure. I was someone who got knocked down and stood back up harder than ever. Now here's the truth. For anyone watching this on Mystery and Revenge, Sometimes losing everything is the only way you discover what you're really capable of. Sometimes the people who try to bury you accidentally plant you. And sometimes, if you're patient, smart, and just crazy enough, you'll end up owning the very place that once rejected you. So yeah, my boss fired me. And now, I own his company. Funny how life works, huh? The first few weeks, as the new owner, felt surreal, man. Like I was living in someone else's movie. I'd sit in that corner office, the same office Richard once ruled like he was some Wall Street emperor, and stare out at the Chicago skyline wondering how the hell everything flipped so fast. Some days I'd walk through the office, and people would smile like they'd just seen a superhero. Others would avoid eye contact, probably afraid I'd fire them the way Richard tossed me out. And honestly, I didn't blame them. Trauma sticks to a workplace like bad wallpaper. It takes time to peel off. But I tried giving everyone a clean slate. New HR policies, flexible schedules, realistic goals. I wanted the place to feel human again. And watching the morale slowly rise, man, that hit deeper than any paycheck ever could. During one late-night work session, I found a drawer full of Richard's old files. Contracts he never signed, deals he ruined, projects he killed just because they weren't his idea. I leaned back in my chair thinking, no wonder this place almost collapsed. It wasn't the market. It was him. The ego, the arrogance, the insecurity wrapped in power. I realized then that sometimes success isn't about climbing a ladder. It's about removing the person blocking everyone else from climbing it. And now that he was gone, the energy in the building felt lighter, like the company itself could finally breathe again. About a month later, something happened I didn't expect in 1,000 years. I was grabbing lunch at a small Chicago pizza shop, one of those spots where the slices are bigger than your face, when someone tapped my shoulder. I turned around and felt my stomach drop. It was Richard. He looked nothing like the perfectly groomed CEO I remembered. His hair was messy, he'd lost weight, and his eyes had that drained, sunken look of someone who hadn't slept in days. He said my name with this shaky voice, like he was rehearsing it the whole walkover. I wanted to apologize, he said, barely able to hold eye contact. I messed up everything. For a moment, I didn't know what to say. Part of me wanted to stand up and walk out. Another part wanted to scream, "You destroyed my life." But instead, I stayed quiet and let him talk. He explained how the board turned on him, how his reputation was shattered, how people who used to fake laugh at his jokes now avoided him like he had a disease. He said firing me was the biggest mistake of his career. And honestly, it felt weird hearing that. Almost too weird. I nodded slowly and said, "Richard, if you had just treated people right from day one, none of this would have happened." He lowered his head, sighed, and said, "I know. I hope one day you can forgive me." Then he walked out before I could respond. I sat there staring at my slice of pepperoni pizza, thinking how life can flip a man into a lesson real quick. But forgiveness? That's a whole different battle. When I got back to the office, something clicked in my head. Richard's apology wasn't closure. It was a reminder. A reminder of why I fought so damn hard to come back. I gathered all the department heads for a meeting in the main conference room. The same room where I once sat helpless, being fired for crimes I didn't commit. But now, I was at the head of the table, and I promised everyone one thing. This company moves forward together. No more fear. No more secrets. No more bosses who think they're gods walking around in loafers. We introduced innovation programs, open-door policies, creative Fridays, mentorship sessions, stuff that should have existed years ago. People started smiling again. Performance shot through the roof. Clients returned, impressed by the transformation. We even landed a new Silicon Valley contract that Richard failed to secure because he treated the client like they were beneath him. The new partner said, "We just like how real you are. No suits pretending to be superheroes." And man, that compliment tasted sweeter than any award. The office wasn't just recovering, it was reborn. And the feeling of watching people grow, people who once lived in fear, was its own kind of revenge. The good kind. The kind that heals instead of destroys. Just when everything felt stable again, a bomb dropped. One afternoon, Ethan, my lawyer friend, called sounding tense. "Bro," he said, "you need to come to my office." Like now, I drove across town thinking maybe there was a legal issue or maybe Richard was trying something stupid again. But when Ethan placed a stack of papers in front of me, my heart skipped. There was a competitor company trying to secretly buy mine out from under me. Not illegally, just aggressively. They saw the turnaround, the new contracts, the success, and now they wanted to swallow it whole. For a second, I panicked. After everything I'd been through, was I really about to lose the company again? Ethan explained they were banking on the fact that I was a young owner with limited corporate experience. Basically, they thought I'd get scared and fold. Man, if only they knew the version of me who survived Richard's chaos. I called an emergency meeting with the investors, showed them the data, the growth charts, the projections. And everyone agreed we weren't selling. Not now. Not ever. To make it even sweeter, one of the competitor's top employees secretly emailed me, saying he wanted to join our team instead because he admired the way we rebuilt. That email? It was the universe tapping me on the shoulder saying, "Relax. You're exactly where you were meant to be." A few months later, the company held its annual end-of-year gathering. The first one without Richard. The first one where people were actually excited to attend. The rooftop venue overlooked the Chicago skyline, glowing like a dream, and the atmosphere felt electric. Employees were laughing, telling stories, celebrating milestones. Real joy, not the fake corporate smiles from the old days. When they handed me the mic to give a speech, I froze for a second. Not because I was nervous, but because the moment hit me hard. I thought about the day I was fired, the rain, the humiliation, the lies, the security guards walking me out. And now here I was, holding a microphone, standing in front of people who believed in me, leading a company I once thought I'd lost forever. I said, "Thank you for believing in this place. Thank you for believing in yourselves. And thank you for proving that no bad leader can stop good people from rising." The entire crowd cheered, glasses clinked, music blasted, and for the first time in a long, long time, I felt whole. Not because I won, but because I became someone even I didn't know I could be. A few days after the rooftop event, I stayed late in the office, sitting alone in the dark with only the city lights spilling through the windows. The Chicago skyline looked like a constellation of second chances, each glowing window reminding me of how far I'd come. I walked through the empty hallways, past desks where people once whispered out of fear, past the conference room where my fate had been decided without my voice, past the lobby where I once stood holding a cardboard box full of shattered confidence. And something unexpected happened. I didn't feel anger anymore, not even bitterness. Instead, I felt this strange, warm calm spreading through me, like the final chapter of a long book finally closing. I realized, man, revenge wasn't the victory. Growth was. Winning wasn't proving Richard wrong. Winning was proving myself right. I walked into my office, sat in the leather chair that used to feel too big for me, and leaned back with this deep breath that felt like I was exhaling years of tension. I looked at the company board report on my desk, profits rising, clients returning, employees thriving. And for the first time it hit me, I finally healed. I didn't just buy a company. I reclaimed my life. And more importantly, I reclaimed who I was before the world tried to break me. And as I turned off the lights and stepped out of the building, I felt something I'd been chasing for years, closure. Real, honest closure. Sometimes the universe lets you fall so hard you think you'll never get up again. But the truth is, you're not falling. You're being launched. The people who betray you, the bosses who underestimate you, the ones who try to crush your spirit, they're not stopping your story. They're building your origin story. Because every setback is training. Every heartbreak is fuel. Every injustice is sharpening your edge. And one day, you'll stand exactly where they said you'd never be. Not to prove them wrong, but to prove yourself unstoppable. Remember this. Revenge is temporary. Growth is permanent. And no one can destroy the future you fight for. If this story shook your heart, made you feel something, or reminded you that life can flip in one moment, then do me a favor. Hit that like button. It helps the channel grow. Drop a comment. Tell us what you would have done in my shoes. Subscribe to Mystery and Revenge, where every week we bring you stories of justice, comebacks, and truth hitting harder than karma itself. Thanks for watching. Stay strong, stay sharp, and remember, your comeback is loading.